Welcome to the Podness with Face, Pat, and Tiz.
What up, guys? Welcome to the Partners, a show with
Hello.
three friends separated by distance, connected by brotherhood, having weekly conversations that you can join in on. I am one third of the Partners, your boy Tiz, as always, with my two co-hosts.
What's up, man? It's Space down here in the country. Also with my other homeboy.
It's your boy, the Padawan, up here at 757 Southeast Virginia. Either way, I'm going to fuck up the intro.
He lives somewhere out there.
I live
Somewhere in
somewhere.
the
It's
state.
Southeast. I said Southwest. I'm not in Roanoke. It's
We gonna
Southeast.
keep that with it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that
going
works.
in there. That is
Yeah,
going in there. We still three. We are actually we're like 4 for 4 now because there was a whole thing that happened before this. So listeners, you won't get that, but Patreon, have fun with that this week.
We're going to do
Anyway,
more.
so yeah, I don't. Give me a second. Y'all go. Jeez.
All right, man. So
Fuck.
started off this week, man. I will start our topics off this week, man. My first topic this week is basically like, excuse me, the definition of a man and what it is to be a man. Not only in cultural standards and the differences in how different genders see them from what we know as far as three guys dealing with women most of our lives, and also generational differences from our age, the age before us, and the age underneath us, and the generations to come. So, me personally, I was always raised to see a man as the head of the household, the protector, the provider, the center of strength, the classical male figure that's always shown to be portrayed in the household. Me personally, I was raised by my mother. Didn't have a father figure in my life, so my mother was that center of strength. So my mother taught me a lot of elements of not only just how to be a man, but how to just survive. So it was more of surviving that was taught rather than how to be a man. So how to be a man was learned more like on my own through trial and error as I grew and as I grow and continue to grow. So I mean, it's not a just a learn something and stop process. Continue to grow. So as I get older, I will learn the continuous concept of how to perfect myself as being a better man. Um, I feel that depending on male or female, seeing is different because from having girls as children and being raised by women, I see the differences of how they view a man, what they think a man is supposed to be versus what other men say. Most men are going to coincide with that general male standard is being promoted through time, and females view it as what they've been told a man should be because once again they are females, so in essence they can have a true idea of what a man should be in his mentality. They only know what they should think a man should be. So once again, the protector provider is told to them, make sure he has a good job, make sure he's this, make sure he's that. Depending on different cultures, you may have different agendas or different uh, stats they want you to meet as far as being a man.
Mhm.
Some cultures may thrive on make sure he has land, make sure he has cattle, make sure he has this in different countries.
Mhm.
So I mean, the different cultural differences equivalent to what a man should be, but that's in their culture. Their culture might not see the same thing as the traditional that we've been taught in our culture, you feel me? Or in America, I should say, because most people in America have that same male ideal. Males aren't weak, they don't show emotion. But as
Mhm.
time progresses and we come into these new generations, we see that it's no problem with showing emotions. You feel me? It takes a strong man to show emotions, and these sayings that come out these days. Me personally, I'm an emotional person. You feel me? Like
Right.
there ain't nothing wrong
Right.
with it. But you find the people that who are emotional, who don't show their emotions, are the most volatile people who have anger problems. So it's best for those people to express those emotions and not feel bottled up. Because it's always been said when you bottle stuff up, you explode. So how many times have we seen a lot of men explode for no reason? Just get mad and explode for no reason. They got all that inside internal stuff bottled up because they're in a condition not to show it. So I mean, to a woman that may be seen as weak because of the condition. Men don't do this, men don't do this. And to a man,
Right.
that may be seen as weak. But to a man himself, is he going to see himself as weak or is he going to understand what he's actually feeling and going through and progressing and knowing this is natural for me to feel this? I'm still being a man, even though let my emotions show. What y'all think?
Um, I think as far as like the definition of being a man, I think it definitely depends on like what your culture is as far as what you're going to individually identify. But to me, like I think universally it means like you should be a pillar of strength. And by strength, I don't mean like the necessarily like the toxic values of like you got to be like overly aggressive and like compete at every single thing and you know what I'm saying, be all like angry and volatile and like ready to fly off the handle at the least little bit. Like I don't mean in that way. I mean more like being there to be able to be emotionally available and like bend yourself and like work on yourself and modify yourself to be a better person as far as like competing against some of our natural instincts. Like I think it is some biological things that we have to overcome to kind of fight off some of that hypersexualization, that hyper aggression mentality that's not only been like kind of pounded into everybody's psyche over generations of that being just like the norm. Like I think also is like it's some biological stuff to that. Whereas like when you think of a male of a lot of mammal species, a lot of their job involves them having to have those natural instincts to be the person that goes out and either protects the group or actually goes and get the food, depending on what mammal it is. You know what I mean? So I think that like because of that, the same way we can overcome those biological urges and not cheat if we want to or not, you know what I'm saying? I think we just gotta make more of those choices to like to really start breaking those like generational bounds, I guess. Like I think the fact that like you said, Face, like you are more emotional. You know what I'm saying? Like you're teaching your kids it's okay to show emotion. Like you don't have to like walk around all bottled up, like stoic, like nothing's happening. Like it's okay to feel angry or sad or happy or whatever your emotion is. I think that that's the type of stuff that like builds that. Because for me, like I got my manhood or like my first lessons in what it was to be a man from my grandfather, Papa Simi. He was my great grandfather, and like from 0 to 8, he was the only real man in my life because my dad was non-existent. So like for me, I learned a lot of good things from him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I learned my loyalty to, you know what I'm saying, my wife and my like strong like value and faith, being faithful to her, like comes from me watching him be very faithful to his wife for like Jesus, like almost 50 some years, you know what I'm saying? Like straight. And he was like rock solid. Like there's no stories I ever heard about him that like, well, you know, he was off on the side, you know, back like, nah, he seemed to be pretty solid. So like for me, just seeing him with her all the time, it like showed me like, despite what I see around me and like even my mom's situation at times, like I got to see a stable dude with a stable lady. So I learned that. That was good. You know what I'm saying? I learned, you know what I'm saying, a lot of like, it's good to be a person that can be handy and it's good to be able to do for yourself. So like my thoughts behind like me wanting to always make sure I'm the one that fixes stuff if it's broken, or me making sure that if something needs to be built, I'm the one that puts my hands on it. You know what I mean? Like, and being really hands-on with just making sure that like if something's wrong, I'm the one that goes and gets the screwdriver, this drill, the saw, whatever it is, and I'm the one that gets to it. You know what I mean? Like I get that from him because I watched him like if something was wrong on the house, he'd climb up on the ladder on the roof, get the hammer and the nails out and get to fix it. You know what I'm saying? He get the drill. So I watched that kind of get up and go, like take care of home from him. But then I also learned like some of those toxic behaviors. Like it took me until I was like older, like really like almost 30 years old to really like get it to the point where I started to feel comfortable, like just really it's okay to just let emotions completely out and start to feel. And I still didn't even really start it, I would say, to be honest, until maybe the past 2 years, a year and a half. where I really just start to let myself just emote. And if I feel sad, it's okay to tear up. If I feel touched by something that I see, it's okay to feel that, like, and not just, oh, I gotta be looking tough because I don't want nobody to think that I'm less than a man right now. I want to make sure I, like, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of that is just shedding that bravado, you know what I mean? And just letting go a lot of that. It's really ego, man, I think, that makes Americans, it's so hard for us to be a man. Because in other cultures, man, like, they're comfortable with their roles and it's okay for them to be just whatever it is and they're settled. It's us in America that's kind of like, like walking around like pent up all the time and like putting on a facade of what it is to be a man instead of actually just buckling down and doing the things that it takes to be a man, like handling your business and, you know what I'm saying, being emotionally available for your family. I was talking my butt off there.
You gotta elaborate on your point. That's all. What you think, Pat?
Yeah. And it gives me time to think about what I'm going to exactly say so I don't look like an asshole. So,
Hey, man, let it flow, man.
hey, well, for me, to be quite honest, I feel like the one thing makes a man is knowing what his mistakes are and how to plan to correct them or better themselves, pretty much. And and knowing when to ask for help. One thing that I am horrible at. I'm horrible at, and it's one thing I need to work on, pretty much. Just knowing, hey, you have resources. You just need to calm down about your situation and really think and plan, in general. Well, I was talking about earlier with I was with my dad earlier today, and when I was looking at him and I was looking at his mannerisms, I was really just studying him so I can understand myself, just learn myself a lot more, learn what I need to look out for. I asked him, I've been having stomach problems. I asked him about his stomach situation, like, because if he has a situation, I'm going to have a situation. Just knowing what I need to do to better myself. The one thing he told me was like, look, things are going to happen. And if it happens, it just happens, man. You just live your life and just move forward. You just gotta just live your life and keep moving forward or whatever.
Yeah.
Because things are always going to happen. You knowing that things are always going to happen is going to make you more prepared. So I think it's just that or whatever. Now I will say, lately there is some role reversals in our society lately. Like just
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Hell yeah.
and like I'm all right. I'm single right now.
Mm-hmm.
Even in the dating realm, it feels like it's more females not taking the male role, but more just, I'll say, yeah, somebody came in here. Or whatever. Yeah. More just man, you're gonna have to edit all this stuff out or whatever. Somebody just ran in here. But
Keeping this shit there.
yeah, when it's just more people, it's just more women just like going forward and being like forward with it. They're not like waiting on you to say something. They'll just straight up come at you like this, that, and the third. I have my moments where I'm like, wait a minute, are you trying to game me? Like I like you like I'm just having a simple conversation, but are you sly putting flirts in, like I'm seeing that a lot more as far as and it's not the way that I would say it's a aggressiveness to it. It's not like the normal, you know what I'm saying? It's an aggressiveness to it. It just seems like I feel like with more women in the workplace and more women handling the household on their own or whatever, it is going to be a dynamic change on like how we view what our roles are. But I feel like that's more of a circumstantial thing. Like, if you're in this certain situation, you're gonna you're gonna handle that situation accordingly, no matter if you're a male or female or whatever. But I just feel like there's more women in male roles, and that may cause a certain change societal, like as far as society in general.
I guess I look at
Piggyback on that one. Go ahead.
no. I was just gonna say like I look at the gender role reversal more from a standpoint of like, is it really a role reversal or is it just people realizing that there are certain overlaps in us as humans? Like there's certain things that we've pushed on a certain gender that technically both genders are equipped to do. Now, there's always going to be certain things that one gender is going to be better equipped to do than another, and vice versa. That's just genetically and biologically how we've evolved to be as a species. But for the most part, our daily living, because of like technology, machinery, the type of lifestyles we live, like ain't nobody going out there hunting buffalo no more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like a woman, for the most part, in 99% of industries, can do the same job as a man. So like at this point, it's no longer a thing of where a man has to be the head of the household, or a woman has to be in the kitchen, or you have to be like those things that might have originated out of like necessity for the way the lifestyle of those people back in the day lived is no longer like that. So really it's just a norming of like, oh yeah, we can both do this. So why am I so pressed that I have to be the one that's here or you have to be the one that's here? Let's actually start looking at and leveraging like just as individuals in this situation. What are you bringing to the table as a person? Because there are situations where the woman might be a bodybuilder and is strong as hell, and the man sitting there walking around the house keep trying to fill this man role. Let me lift it. Get out of the damn way. She can lift you and the shit you trying to lift. Why are you sitting there pressed like you ain't lifted a Dorito without straining? And she's like it, or like you got a situation where like the man is better suited to be at home and be the homemaker, while the woman is better suited to go out and be the breadwinner. Why are we pressed to like see that as a bad thing, or vice versa? Like I think we got to get out of that as society and just realize it's not even a gender reversal. It's more just, oh yeah, for the most part, outside of extreme physical things, we can do the same stuff. So why not just do what's best for each situation as opposed to pressing these boxes on people that don't really matter no more?
Yeah, to piggyback on what both of y'all said, because both of y'all basically spoke on equality for the gender. And that's what we are all continuously fighting for, is true equality. Like I said, you know me, I believe in equality to the utmost. So I believe everybody deserves the same treatment. But when it comes to the, how can I phrase it, the classical male view as far as king of the castle, when that gender role is reversed and you speak on the traditional, as they coin the phrase, that hen-picked husband or the hen-pecked husband role, that is somewhat of a reverse role, but in the same instance, they may not be better suited. As you stated, you feel like it's no problem if one is better suited. Go ahead and do your role. Like in my household, we're both suited to do either role. So regardless of who's at home, everything's gonna get done just like the other one's at home. Whoever got to go to work, that person's going to work at that time. That's it. It is. We're equal partners. But when you come to those households where, because you know all households aren't equal, you have some tables that 50 ain't butts the table on both sides. You have some households where you got 90 and 10, where the man may be bringing in a 10 and the woman's bringing in a 90. But it's still in the household, that man still may feel like he want to make the decision, or he did this because he must feel like he must still reach to some level of masculinity, even though he's still striving to attain that. Because the woman shouldn't be put down and may feel any way because she is the primary breadwinner and she can do anything, while this man may not be able to. Or he's the same to cook nothing. You feel me? Like we're all 80s babies. it's a damn sure I can get in the kitchen and cook. So if my wife ain't home, kids still get fed.
Mm-hmm.
And if I ain't
Right.
home, they still get fed. So regardless of who's here, like I said, everything is everything. But when it comes to a household where the man can provide and can do everything, but the woman is more headstrong, you feel me, like or more gung ho about being the boss or wanting to be in charge, and she wants that alpha role, and
Mm-hmm.
we wrote the roles reversed, and he being a henpecked husband, I should say, and allowing the toxic treatment to go in. That's when it comes to that real reversal of roles. You feel me? Because you know that that is in the reverse instance when the man is doing that to the woman. That's the classical view throughout the ages. That's what you see classical. But to reverse that, they're seen as something so negative in the life. But on the counterpart, it's seen as still positive. So my viewpoint is like, sure, I don't view either view. I don't have a viewpoint as far as either being negative because everybody to each his own. There's some households that work on either way. There's some women who don't want to make no decisions, who want to let the husband take over everything, and they feel perfectly comfortable doing that. And some husbands who sit back like, I ain't got to do something. I ain't got to make no decisions. Let my wife run the household. She can do everything. I just got to sit for the ride. And I'm perfectly happy with that. But on the wide scale appeal, both are seen as negative in some light. You feel me? So I mean, it's come to that fine line where we have to find some equality and find a middle ground where it's seen as good or holistic. Everybody sees the middle ground as what needs to be done going forward or what needs to be taught going forward because we have too many old school ideas as far as households and how they should be run still being taught. So you see a lot
Mm-hmm.
of still domestic violence for offspring is an offspring of this, and you see a lot of that going from okay, you have a old school taught man who still wants to do this, but you have a new school woman who ain't gonna tolerate it. So that's when you have these constant clashes in relationships and this toxic behavior continuing. The role reversal to me, it's a catalyst for negative stuff in relationships if people don't have the communication levels they should have. So
I think you pretty much said it with that exact last sentence. Like, if the communication ain't right, that's where the problem is in any of that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that like in the situation of the 90-10, if the man bringing in 10 and the woman bringing in 90, as if that man is better at creating plans, then
mm-hmm.
that might be what works for them in that household, for him to still be the person that is the primary like planner and logistics maker for that household. It might be better for him to make those decisions if that's his, if his brain still works better for that and he's just not in the financial position. Like, I think for one, that's a big thing our society has to get away from, is just thinking about stuff from a financial aspect. Like, who runs the house is not necessarily who makes the money. Like, there's been times in our relationship where depending on whoever was in the better position mentally to run the house, that's who's making the decisions at that moment, because the other person, it would be like, if we're talking about, hey, at this point, I am more financially sound. Why would the other person be still making the financial decisions in that household? Like, that's stupid. That just doesn't make logical sense for that house. So like, I think that again, it's like really based on communication so that it doesn't get to anybody being henpecked, whether it's the woman or the man. Like, in any extreme, henpecked is like an extreme. That means that that's a toxic situation, regardless of
Mm-hmm.
whatever the dynamics or the roles are in that household. That's just a toxic, somebody's in that situation toxic, whether it's both of them or one of them. That's, they need to get away from each other. But if you're talking about a situation where like financially it may be different, or the man may be taking up more household roles that are traditionally labeled as what a woman should quote unquote do, then I don't feel like that should be a problem at this point in the world, because women are getting to the point where that wage gap stuff is closing. And in a lot of industries, the wage gap has flipped to the point where women are on average making more money in certain industries than men. So like, it's getting to a point where if you look at per capita, like women are coming out a lot of times more educated and they're coming out like more prepared to run a household. So like, I think it's stupid if you are a man that is coming from a place where you have never had to make those decisions, or you have a track record of like you've been on your own for years, but you fucked up a lot on your own for years, and you keep getting evicted or you keep getting fired from jobs and shit. How you gonna come in and tell and run anything in the household where this woman is sitting here, been working at this job for 7 straight years, got her degree, she ain't like she been living in this one place for all this time. Like it doesn't make sense. So I think it really just comes down to like, again, like Faye said, the communication, the man and the woman, or the man, like whoever, the two people in that situation coming together and like putting their strengths and weaknesses as an individual on the table, and then making like a balance of like, okay, so I'm strong in these areas, so this is where I will take charge because this is where I am more suited to be in charge. You're better in these areas. You should take charge here because this is where you're better suited, and then we go from there. It's just like our partnership in business, like when we do the podcast, like everybody does what they are more suited to do, like as opposed to throwing somebody into an arena where they don't, where like, what? I don't know shit about this. Why would I be doing this? This is not, you know what I mean? Like, I think that type of logic goes to everything, to business, like any type of relationship. It got to be a thing of like, it comes together balanced. It can't be anybody.
If you're enjoying this content and want to hear more, listen to the whole podcast by going to The Podnas. That's ThePodnas on all podcast streaming sites. Or to make it easy on yourself, you can go to thepodnas.com. That's ThePodnas.com for all info on the Podnas movement.
What's going on, y'all? This is Face 1/3 of Partners. Make sure y'all come to YouTube every Wednesday and check out our new episode of the Partners Podcast. Also, check us out online for our new apparel dropping every week. That'll be at teespring.com/stores/partners-closet-1. Once again, that's teespring.com/stores/partners, PODNAS-closet, CLOSET-1. We get at you.
Just updated on the store, we have mugs, hoodies, shirts, bags, kids' clothes, and face masks. Show you are down with the Pod Squad. Rep the Podness by going to teespring.com/stores/partners-closet-1 to get all of our newest merch. And as always, follow our entire movement at thepodness.com.
Welcome to the Podness with Face, Pat, and Tiz.